Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's SJG and my guy K-Ferg, and we are rolling into week 2 for the D2 calendar. Welcome to HBCU Game Day. No matter where you guys are, please go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out with some of your folks, and let's have some fun. Chris, man, how are you feeling today today, September 10th? How you feeling, man?
Doing all right. Week's going by pretty quickly, and seems like that's when you really get into the thick of football season, is when the weeks just fly by, and then all of a sudden it's like it's another game again.
Yeah, man, living for the weekend, man. It's a beautiful day out here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Yeah, man. So a lot to talk about this week for sure. You guys saw in the title. Obviously, there's a big game going on down in Florida that will decide the winner of the CIAA versus SIAC this year. We'll talk about that game as well as several others. We also have a big game that's going to be going on tomorrow. So we definitely want to make sure that we spotlight that as well. So let's get started, Chris. All right. Last week, again, gave us some program-shaking wins. And also, as I'm moving things around on my, gave us some heartbreakers that left people shaking their heads. So let's break it all down. The first stop, we'll start with those guys over at Beatties Ford Road. Johnson C. Smith stunned the HBCU world, knocking off 14th ranked Valdosta State 21-16. Chris, this is a game we talked about last week. You and I talked about it, with Valdosta State. They are a team in transition with a new head coach and new everything, with Tremaine Jackson having left for Prairie View A&M. But they're still Valdosta State, a.k.a. fake VSU, a.k.a. Valdosta hate. So, Chris, man, what were your impressions of this game as the Golden Bulls really stepped out into the national spotlight?
Well, I just feel like this was a game that JCSU had to go out and improve it, right? I mean, we saw the week before that they had another capable team in Clark that just couldn't seal the deal. And we've seen that time and time again in the HBCU world, where even if you get ahead, that those PWIs find a way to storm back and snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat. And, with JCSU, you kind of got to that point where it was like, are we going to see the same old story all over again? But I tell you, man, that defense really stepped up when it really mattered the most. Between causing interceptions, turnovers, certainly shout out to Ronte Dunbar for what he was able to do from that cornerback spot. He had a fumble recovery and an interception. And then, on offense, the coaches really dialed up some really strong plays, especially when they got well into the red zone, goal to goal. And, the difference this year having Kelvin Durham is that he's mobile. And, they try to test that middle with that run game, couldn't quite get there a couple of times. And so what they do, they would fake it to the running back, fake handoff, and kind of just let Kelvin Durham power into the end zone. And so I think those two times that they ran that play really caught Valdosta off guard. And the ability for him to get the ball downfield when necessary was a big deal. And so, when you got a good defense like you do in JCSU, yes, they had a couple of lapses with the running game, but in the end, 28-16 was the final score. That last touchdown happened to salt that game away late in the game, and that's kind of what you needed. That one score to kind of slam the door shut of a potential comeback, and JCSU got it.
All right. Yeah, good stuff there. We'll talk a little bit more about Johnson C. Smith All right. good stuff there. We'll talk a little bit more about Johnson C. Smith in a little bit earlier. Now we officially debuted our B to A session last week. And so that wasn't exactly a B to A, but since it's Valdosta, thank you, aka the fake VSU, aka Valdosta hate, that was a B to A. So congratulations to Johnson C. Smith for getting a win. A win against Valdosta State is a win against Valdosta State, nationally ranked. Edward Waters, they are also on this B to A list. That's all Miles has been hearing all season long, and it's not going to get any better for them friends at all. The Tigers are humming on offense. Talk about that, Chris, and just, again, we saw what they did week one. Week one. And now we saw what they did last week. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with Edward Waters, I mean, their numbers aren't exactly jumping off the page, a little over 300 yards of total offense. But, the ability, again, Noah Bowden, second game in a row, really getting the ball downfield, over 200 yards of passing. And really, it's just shout out to the defense, man. I mean, when, Miles, we used to know Miles as a running team, and they could wear teams down and have a very physical style of play. They didn't even have 1 yard of a carry. And I mean, there's not really much you can do if you're really relying on the pass game. That's not really what Miles' identity has been. They don't really have personnel for that. So it just put them in a really, really bad spot. And Edward Waters just hit the accelerator, and they just couldn't get caught.
Yeah, man. Again, we'll talk about both these teams later in different levels of conversation, but we'll finish out B to A for this week. We'll give it to those guys. We'll give it to those guys from Tuskegee. Hey, man. First off, people bought their damn tickets as they were told. I believe another $15K for Tuskegee in this game, so they are off to a really high start, 2-0. I mean, it was Central State, but they beat them. So we'll recognize that as well. We'll talk a little bit more about Tuskegee and whether or not we're buying or selling. But now let's go to our second kind of breakdown of last week. That's the Road Warriors. Bowie State, you had them going to a 23-7 win over Shippensburg. As you said last week, not quite the Shippensburg that we know, but they won that game. Let's talk about that one for a second, Chris. I think you said that you were wrong on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard to really tell what Bowie State was going to come out with. They did hit the transfer portal, and Kevin Taylor didn't get the start here. It was one of the transfers, the guy from Merrimack, who's Malachi Anthony. There we go. And 12 of 19, 140 yards doesn't really jump off the page. But 6 of those passes went to Challenger Valentine, had a touchdown reception early in the game. Really it's the defense here. The defense forcing turnovers. They actually forced a fumble, ran it back, at plus in the turnover margin. You don't really need to do a whole lot if you've got a defense doing that. And Shippensburg, for all they had coming back, they just continue to struggle. And so, certainly hats off to those guys at Bowie for what they were able to do. Not a high scoring game, but when you don't have an offense, that margin was more than enough that Shippensburg wasn't able to do much with it.
Well, that was all our friend Clarence needed to get the gravy train running. But he's I will say that he's consistent. He's a little. He did point out some things that they had to work on. So they got Dell State this week. Will they be on our inaugural B to A watch list? You don't know. You will have to see. So yes, and as we're in the chat. Yes, Tuskegee beat WSSU. That's old news. That was the other week. Anyway, shout out to our guy Jamie Walker, who's on our SIAC show. EWU feels like the real deal. We'll see on Saturday. We shall see. We shall see. Let's also look at on the road. We had Albany State going up to Frankfurt, looking like SIAC contenders. We will talk about them a little bit later. We had Livingstone going down to the SIAC, carrying the CIAA flag. They had weather, which a lot of people had as well. They had weather, and they weathered the storm. Some people say that the stream could have been better, and people were in the dark basically almost, and so hopefully they'll get that together. But what were your thoughts on Livingstone? Do we ever get stats from that game from Allen? Or
I haven't even checked, but I mean, it wasn't even a live stream available. Like when I think the game first started, I was searching, trying to find something. And then I did find something, and that's when they went into the weather delay. There wasn't a ticker at the bottom with the score. Had to wait for when the cameraman flashed at the scoreboard to even know what was going on. Didn't know if the game ended or not until got a response back from the Livingstone folks. But certainly shout out to Livingstone for what they were able to do as well. I thought that Allen. Thought Allen would have had a little bit more offense than what they actually showed. I was a little disappointed by that. I thought that was going to be the difference maker. But, hey, Livingstone is one of those teams that, you underestimate them and they will bite you. So certainly shout out to them as well.
Yeah. And then finally on the road, the game that I was at on Saturday, Winston-Salem State. Of course, these guys never make it easy on me. They never make it easy on me. But they played in the mountains of North Carolina. Weather was kind of an issue all day, but the game stopped. It started, and WSSU actually was up 21-10 going into the fourth quarter. They wouldn't let us bring our band. They would not. The quarterback kept trying to complete passes to the cheerleaders. It was not a hospitable place, but WSSU was up 21-10, ended up trailing 25-21, and needed a game-winning drive from Dalen Lee and his guys to edge out Mars Hill to even their record at 1-1. We'll talk a little bit more about them later, but yeah, it was a tough win on the road, but a really good day if you look at it, Chris. Before we get started on the D2 level for the CIAA, you had beating a SIAC team with Livingstone winning. You had Winston-Salem State beating, I believe that's SAC 8. Is that the South Atlantic Conference?
South Atlantic Conference, yep.
South Atlantic Conference. You had Bowie State beating the PSAC, and I'm missing. And the Gulf South, I guess technically as a football conference doesn't exist, but there's that win. It was a good day. It was a good day for the CIAA for sure. For a lot of the CIAA, but not everybody. And so that brings us to our next segment, Kobe. One that we like to call by the name of the Brandy song, the very popular Brandy song. We'll let that play and she'll lead us in. See, that was me last week in Alabama, but I digress. Not this week, though. Not this week. All right, so Elizabeth City State, they were brand new. They were brand new coach. Well, not a brand new, but new coach to them, Adrian Jones. And so he had a solid start, but in a loss against Chowan. They went up to Hampton. I think ECSU picked to finish 9th. Nobody gave them a chance, but they were leading in a lot of this game. And, it came down to a controversial end, but even still, they had the chance to win. And I'll play the clip, Kobe.
5 seconds. Here's your ball game. Perkins back. Unloads. End zone. He's got a man. And it's intercepted. And there's your ball game. It's not over until he goes down.
Yeah. There was another clip, I didn't get a chance to get it, but basically the wide receiver looked like he scored a touchdown, but was ruled not a touchdown, and that ended up being a deciding factor. What do you make of ECSU? I know you're not a fan of these games, Chris, but what do you make of ECSU going up to Hampton and giving them a run for their money after Hampton just played Jackson State pretty well for 3 quarters?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It took me a while to even want to even go look at the score. And by the time I went to go look at the score, it was like, what, 20-10 at halftime. And I'm like, what is happening here? Like, you got to be kidding me, right? And so it's like, I didn't pick ECSU to win, but I wanted them to win. And it felt like as we got closer and closer, it was feeling really good. And I think then you just started to see Hampton slowly creep up. And, for Hampton, I mean, yeah, they may have played Jackson State close, right? But, man, their pass game is not good at all. I mean, it's just not there. And they went to the running game to really get, ECSU on the ropes. Giving up 7 yards of carry is a lot to withstand. And the other thing is Hampton was very undisciplined, and they gave ECSU opportunities that ECSU had, did cash in. That Hampton had 102 yards of penalties, and they gave ECSU 5 first downs off of penalties. I mean, you give opportunities like that to Adrian Jones, he's going to find a way to cash in, and he did. And Chris Perkins, I think that's the quarterback that was at St. All, so he's not a new guy. Traycon Johnson, again, he had quite a few yards. I think he's going to be a problem. Now that we're getting into league play, he's going to have some opportunities to break loose. And so, what they're able to do in ECSU, I feel like they're a little ahead of schedule. I figured, they will be entertaining this year. They've certainly shown that. Now they just got to learn how to close out games. And that's really the big step when you're trying to be a really good team is they get almost there, and then they don't close out games. And so if they learn how to do that, they will be a really good team, really hard to beat at that point.
All right. Yeah, I mean, tough one. And then just down the road over in Norfolk, we had another old CIAA matchup, Virginia State versus versus Norfolk State, Big State versus Little State, D1 versus D2, CIAA versus MEAC. And man, Chris, again, I know you don't like these games, but we knew that, a lot of people, we talked about last week, could they pull off the upset? Well, for a long time, it looked like they were going to. I mean, Chris, they led this game. God, what was the score? It was 23-10 at one point?
Yeah, it was 23-10. Then it went to like 23-17. And, yeah, I mean, it was VSU was up for some time at that 23-10 score. And then, again, Norfolk continued to chip away. They made a change at quarterback to Otto Coons.
Automatic.
And he was the one who did VSU in last year, and he got him again. But I tell you, man, Rashawn Matthews, he's like third in the country right now in passing yards per game, from what I remember. I mean, he's strong, man. He's real strong. And VSU had an opportunity at the end of the regulation to win this game. When I saw that they were going to kick a 46-yard field goal, I'm just like, man, look, like, as much I give VSU a lot of grief when it comes to that kicking game year after year. And man, he almost made it, doinked right off of the crossbar. He just needed a little bit more leg to get it across, but he was right on. Yeah, right. And if a game like that's going into overtime, it just felt like, Norfolk's going to win that game, and that's what happened. So, hey. But it was a valiant effort. I'm with you, Dr. Frazier. I don't like these games either. I understand why they got to be played, but I'm not a fan of them.
All right. We will cross that bridge in just a little bit. Karen, don't go. We're gonna talk about Tuskegee a little later. We're gonna have some fun, or Clark Atlanta too. But it's all right. It's all good. It's okay. All right. No. So again, you bring up Mr. Matthews, and of course he had. First off, before we let go of this, and I would say for anybody who has some time and you just want to see an entertaining game, you should go back. This whole thing is on YouTube. I would say go back and watch the game. It was so close, Chris. I know you don't like this game, but 25-20, the first downs were 25-24 in favor of Norfolk State right there. And total yards, they outgained them by 50, Norfolk State did, but passing yards was definitely Rashawn Matthews, 313 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just a really competitive matchup. And we'll talk about these type of matchups in a little bit. But let us get back to focus and let us look at some of the top players of last week. So we have Rashawn Matthews. We talked about him already. Let's talk about Isaiah Knowles. He is the quarterback for Albany State, and he went to town against Kentucky State. 304 passing yards, 6 touchdowns through the air, 89 rushing yards, and another touchdown on the ground. 7 TDs in one game. That's pretty damn good, no matter who you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we spoke about Kevin Durham as well. But let's talk about Isaiah Knowles. What are your impressions of him? And he's a preseason SIAC Player of the Year. What are your, have you had a chance to really watch him, and what makes him so dangerous for Albany State?
Well, the ability to run and pass, right? I think that one of the premium things that you can do in Division II is have a mobile quarterback. And when you kind of see that sort of happening here, it just opens up so many options for the playbook. And so the way that he's able to just rack up yards like that and sort of keep defenses honest really is an advantage that not a lot of teams in Division II in general have, much less HBCUs. And, think about the fact that, 21 of those points were in the fourth quarter. It was a kind of a back and forth game for some time through that first half. Albany was only up by 7 at halftime. And it was just like, man, think about how far Kentucky State has come to even be in that position. But Knowles is a game breaker, and that he did what game breakers do. He broke the game open and carried them to victory. Certainly at this pace could see him easily being a nominee for the Harlan Hill.
Oh, very nice. It was probably been a long time since we've had an SIAC quarterback there. We did have Amir Hall, but it's probably been a while since we had an SIAC nominee for that. And then Samuel Graham of Bowie State, 9 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and a 53-yard scoop and score to seal the deal for Bowie State. Any impressions of him in that defense?
The defense was awesome. To again, out of conference play, right? And Bowie, a lot of what Bowie has done is made their name on defense, and it was just really refreshing to see them get back to that, to get to that next level. And so, that scoop and score was pretty exciting to watch when in the little bits that I did watch that game.
All right, Chris, let's play a game. Buy or sell.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll play along too. Are we buying Johnson C. Smith's win over Valdosta State as program defining?
That might be a bit much to say program defining per se. Valdosta is down some this year, but I think that all they're doing is that they have built up, continue to build on what they started last year. And to me, I think that there was enough eyes on them to see what they would do, and this just got them to the next level. So remember, John C. Smith now ranked in the top 25 of the Division II D2Football.com poll. They're 26 in the coaches poll. So a lot of people took notice, and coaches poll didn't have a lot of votes for JCSU after week 1. but that win alone put a lot of people on notice that JCSU is definitely a team to be looking out for. So I don't know if I'll go as far as program defining at this point, but it made a lot of heads turn, most definitely.
Yeah, I think, Chris, in my opinion, we won't know for a while. Again, we don't know how good this Valdosta State team is. And again, they were ranked. We don't know how good they are. We remember a couple years ago when Virginia Union beat them in a similar situation in Tremaine Jackson's first year. And now you can kind of look back and say that was kind of program defining for them, even though Valdosta State wasn't great then. That was the first time you took notice. Yeah. They went on the road and did it. So the jury's still out on that. The jury is still out on whether it's program defining or not. We may have to check back at the end of the season and probably maybe in a couple seasons. But I would tentatively buy it right now. I tentatively buy it. Next up, is Bowie State a legit threat? Is Bowie State back? Is Bowie State back? Are you buying or selling them as back?
I'm not buying that just yet. I think that, certainly got a defense that we've talked about quite a bit already. The offense is still a question mark. Again, it wasn't a huge, the offensive output wasn't quite there. They just really rode the defense to victory against a team that was already struggling on offense. They got a really interesting schedule. Of course, they got to play Winston, right? And they're going to need a lot of offense to go up against Virginia Union and Virginia State. So, which they do, those are always very competitive games, especially the VSU one. So, I don't know if I'm buying it just yet. It's too small of a sample size. And the Dell State game, we'll see what comes out of that. So,
yeah. And you guys can also let us know if you're buying or selling at home. So let's go up next to Tuskegee. Are we buying Tuskegee at 2-0 Tuskegee? Are we buying them as a team that can go to Jackson, Mississippi and beat Jackson State?
Nah.
Had to ask.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, the teams like that, when they do pull off those upsets, they tend to be a little bit more, I would say maybe a little bit more balanced than what Tuskegee is right now. They're really dependent on the pass. And you kind of need some ball control to sort of, limit the amount of touches that the FCS school is going to have. I thought that you saw some of that with what Virginia State was trying to do, with what Elizabeth City was trying to do. And I'm a little concerned whether Tuskegee does have enough in the run game to sort of keep, Jackson State at bay. I just don't think they do right now.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's go to are we buying Elizabeth City State as a CIAA sleeper? Not saying they're going to get the championship game, but a team that can knock some people off and can get back to the race.
Yeah, I'm buying them as a sleeper team, to sort of get into the middle. I am. I think that yes, they're 0-2, out of conference, but I do think that they're going to have their opportunities to give some teams some fits, and so can they get above 9? Yeah, I think that they can. I do.
Okay. Very interesting. I'm going to buy them as a sleeper too. I think they're gonna factor into the race, especially now that we have no longer have divisions. Remember a couple years ago they were bad and they beat Virginia State when Virginia State was good. So especially getting that season, if you can keep that attrition down, you can potentially get there. Sly. Tuskegee hasn't beaten anybody yet. Winston-Salem State beat themselves. So yes, I know you're trying to be slick, but yeah, they haven't beaten anybody. They were handed that game and they took it. So hat in hand. All right. Let's go. Chris, we got a question that needs an answer. And guys in the chat, feel free to do as well. we have we saw last week and we see this week as well. Last week was mostly CIAA. This week is mostly SIAC teams playing up and going into play the FCS schools. So again, disclaimer, Chris does not like these games. Chris no like these games.
Not a fan.
Steven, I kind of like him. But, the question is the gap in between D2 schools, especially in the CIAA, and lower FCS programs starting to close? We're seeing flashes that say yes. And I think that when these matchups happen early in the season, I think everybody should be sweating them out for the most part. We've got another one this week. Fayetteville State is going to be going up to North Carolina Central now. That's one where, and I don't know if we got that on our list to talk about or not, but it's Fayetteville State's kind of on a downward trend. Just the way that they've been playing. North Carolina Central, we saw how they beat up on Winston-Salem State the last 2 years they played them when they became a nationally ranked team. But the first year, even that was a close game for a time being. So what are your thoughts on this, Chris? We'll go ahead and box you up. Let us know if you feel like the D2s, especially the CIAA, are getting a little bit closer.
Well, I mean, in a lot of cases, like when you look at a depth chart, a lot of times the top level CIAA and even SIAC teams can match up against the FCS teams, the FCS HBCUs. And a lot of times it's really going to be a matter of can those teams get up far enough to sort of withstand the depth issues that they run into. I think you also see that with like the transfer portal, teams that lose players to the portal, some of those players move up and they can do quite well at the FCS or even FBS level. And so that right there kind of tells you like the talent is there. I mean, we've even seen some linemen now that have transferred and go on to, the FCS or FBS. And that's typically where you see some of the concerns in these games is like the line play doesn't hold up for very long. And but the talent's there. And so to me, I would say, yeah, I think that these teams should certainly stand up to each other. Again, that Bowie State, Dell State game will be very interesting. Dell State pulling off the win against Albany, New York, and so are they primed for a letdown against Bowie? Who knows? But certainly looks to be potentially a engaging game. And then Albany now, going to FAMU is going to be really interesting too. Because as you talked about, they do have the offense to hopefully keep pace. So
really good stuff there. We'll talk about that game in just a second, but I think that I actually got a chance. I was on the MEAC Media Day call, and I asked, you look at a program like North Carolina Central, who has seen its self-rated by the Power Five. We had that famous information that was dropped on us earlier this season by Trey Oliver about his squad having a guy on the side from a Power Five program trying to get his running back. And of course, his running back is Jamari Taylor, who is just so happens to be lighting it on fire at UVA right now. So, those are guys that, he used to be able to stockpile. I mean, he was a backup for a long time, and he had one good year, and then now he's gone. And so now you got to find a way to replace him. And even, I talked to Coach Oliver. He talked about how, they don't love the transfer portal, but they are, they do draw from the transfer portal when it comes from D2 schools as well. So I think that line is just getting closer. And especially, again, I think in the CIAA, the SIAC will, which will take front and center. We'll have to see. They have, I think Savannah State played Grambling last year, and Grambling got up pretty big, and then Savannah State kind of came back on them a bit as well. So I'll be interested to see how the SIAC teams hold up on this for that. So with that being said, let's talk about one of these games that a couple years ago was close. And before I forget, guys, please make sure you hit that like button wherever you are. We're seeing a lot more people in the chat than we got like buttons. So please hit that. We definitely appreciate that for you. Give us a thumbs up, drop us a comment, whatever. Help out the algorithm. But back to these games. This segment is called B2A Alert. B2A Alert. It's up. It's been a long day, Kobe. It's been a long day. We appreciate you. All right, Miles. Here we go. The delay. That's the worst. All right, Miles taking on Alabama State. B2A alert. Are you agreeing with that? And I mean, realistically, what do you see for Miles in this game? I'm afraid to ask.
Yeah, this is a doom alert day all day, because this is going to be ugly. This is not going to be good. No, it's not. It's not. Andrew Body is bringing the bags. It's going to get ugly. Yeah. Ouch.
Bama State got the body. Morehouse versus Howard. This is an annual B2A, right? This is an annual B2A. Even though one year, what was it? Howard didn't score against them in the half, but I mean, they just got the B2A on them by Johnson C. Smith, and now they got Howard. Do you agree? Is this as a B2A alert game?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm pulling up the history right now of this game, and 7-0, right? Howard 7, Morehouse 0. It's not there. This is nice nostalgia type deal, but no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I did hear our guy AD Drew, our friend AD Drew, is the SID over at Morehouse. Of course, Sly never takes a chance to not throw shots at Morehouse. So there is that. Morehouse and Morehouse, the CIAA and WSSU. He loves those are three that he's going to take a shot at every time. So we respect the repetition. I think AD Drew said that they have not lost to Morehouse has not beaten Howard since 1969.
Yeah.
The year of our Lord, 1969. So the Academic Bowl will continue to go to Howard. You already know that. All right. And let's see. Also on our B2A list, Kentucky State versus Grambling State. Can the Thoroughbreds avoid being in our B2A section next week?
I think this might be a little bit more competitive than the other two, but I mean, it'll get ugly in the end. I mean, I think you see where Kentucky State, doesn't really have the defense to stand up to this, but I think that it'll be a little bit more entertaining for sure.
All right, and we didn't put this one on here, but I'm gonna since our friends over in the chat have talked it up. How do you feel about a B2A alert over in Durham?
Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Oh, this is gonna get ugly.
How do you feel about that? I mean, last week, so there's improvement. 31-24 lost to their rival, UNC Pembroke. That is Fayetteville State's rival. Because it's not, we know who's not. But yeah, so that's a competitive series. So what is there a B2A alert on there for you? How do you feel about the offense?
I don't feel, because if I feel, I would have tears. I don't feel. No, I mean, Fayetteville State doesn't have that much of a passing game. I mean, it's been a real struggle for them through the air. And they'll be competitive against the bottom half of the CIAA, but this is just a whole nother level, and it's just not going to hold up very well. I just don't see it.
Is it though? And I would love to give Fayetteville State the business here, but again, I was at that game in 2021 when a bad WSSU team was competitive with a decent North Carolina Central team. And right now, Chris, this North Carolina Central team looks more like that team that went 6-5 than it does those other teams that, really put it on WSSU, particularly in that next year. So it may not be. It may not be.
You're giving a lot more grace than I am, but hey, then again, I went 4-5 last week, so who knows? I don't know anything. It's so unpredictable, but just what I've been able to see with Fayetteville State's offense right now, it needs a lot of help, and I'm just not convinced.
So it's a straight up money game then. Okay, we got you. It's crazy, man. The first game that I did as HBCU game day was Fayetteville State and North Carolina Central. So it's just a little bit of nostalgia there. So we'll see. We'll see. A good old CIAA battle, an hour away from each other. All right, let's see. All right, let's get to the big picture. Some of the big games before we get out of here. What on that? Johnson C. Smith. Let's start with Johnson C. Smith. Johnson C. Smith, Chris, I know you were popping bottles for him last week, but last year they popped some bottles themselves at Bowman Gray Stadium. They popped some bottles. They were 8-0. They finally beat Winston-Salem State. Whoop-de-woo. And we just know we're going into the CIAA championship game, and then they lose to a 3-win Fayetteville State team, and then please, and then they lose to a 3-win Fayetteville State team, and then they lose to their rivals, their real rivals, Livingstone College. So we're there's the question of a hangover, Chris. We're gonna play a clip from Brick by our own guy Wally Pitt, where he talked. Coach Flowers talked about that. So let's see what Coach Flowers has to say.
Is experience. We've been through a lot of hype, and as you can see, apparently we didn't handle it well. But you know what? That's what we do in our program. We say you don't lose, you learn. Also, you can learn when you win also. We won the game against Valdosta State, but we learned so much about ourselves and about our program and how we go about our business. What we're going to do our best at. I was very pleased to see how we would rebound in practice with our first day back at it. One of our best days that we had. It was going to tell us a whole lot if we were coming with Valdosta State hangover. There was no signs of Valdosta State hangover in practice on Tuesday morning. Our young men, we've moved on. One of our better practices, a great attention to detail, and we just have to keep that up the rest of the week and in the game day on Saturday. But we are going to handle the things that we didn't do well last year. We're going to handle them better this year. And what we told our team was if you want to be ranked in the top 25, beat Valdosta State. We did it. We're ranked in the top 25.
All right, there you have it. Coach Flowers talking about last year and the lessons that they learned from that. They are ranked in the D2 poll, not the coaches poll, but the D2 football poll, which Chris is a voter in. Chris, first off, where did you vote for them? Where did you rank them?
22.
Okay, 22. All right. Let's see. Okay, good stuff. So they're taking on Elizabeth City State, who, they're going to be playing with a lot of confidence. They're going to be home. I believe it's their home opener. No, I'm not sure if they played earlier already. But anyway, they're going to be at home. Johnson C. Smith has to make that drive. Now, again, both these schools are in North Carolina. But if you know anything about the geography of North Carolina, that's a good ride away. That's a good bus ride away. 5 hours probably 4 hours from Beatty's Ford Road to Elizabeth City. So, yeah, I mean, they could be to Atlanta before they could be to Elizabeth City. So, any chance of a hangover here, or do you think that Johnson C. Smith is a well-oiled machine after what happened to them last year?
Well, I kind of giggle because I just wonder what the weather's going to be like on Saturday there. Because if it's muddy, that would certainly slow down JCSU. But really, I would say that no, I don't really expect a hangover. I think that this team is different from last year, and I do think that ECSU has the ability to give some fits. But in the end, I do think that JCSU will win by a comfortable margin in this game. I think that they're pretty locked in, so yeah, I don't expect a hangover at all in this game.
Okay, all right. All right. Then we got Albany. We don't got that. We have the game that is coming up tomorrow night, Thursday night, under the lights in Atlanta. Clark Atlanta. They weathered the storm last week and literally weathered the storm and finally completed a game against Edward Waters, even though I believe the clock was 32. I think it was cut down to 32 minutes. But they got the win. And now they get the chance to face the Fort Valley State. In both games they played so far, they have not broken 30. Again, that last one was I believe, a 17-12 win. So, Kobe, if you're going to play the clip from the show, the Teddy Keaton show with Sly the Sports Guy, talking about is it a new look, Clark Atlanta? Are they defensive minded, or are they struggling on offense? Let's find out.
Be clear on something. We can score at will still, but it's a conscious decision now to make sure that we control and play football that kind of complements our defense, so they're not playing as many snaps as we're playing, and we're kind of methodically moving the ball down the field, taking our time, calling good plays that'll be able to help make good decisions and take shots when we need to. We're learning to coach together so that it don't take a toll on our team.
Yeah, there you have it from the coach. You can watch his whole show here on HBCU Game Day on the YouTube channel. So please go check that out. Sly does a great job with that when he is not throwing barbs at Morehouse, the CIAA, or WSSU. Chris, your thoughts on this game Thursday night under the lights? ESPN2, SIC has had a number of these games over the last couple of years on the red turf, on the red carpet. What do you guys think? What do you think?
I didn't realize that the starting quarterback at Fort Valley was the quarterback who was on the CIAA all-rookie team who used to play at Bluefield State right before their coaching change. He's certainly capable, but he definitely is going to have to show that he's capable after not a great showing at West Alabama. So, certainly looking for that step from game 1 to game 2 in this one. Florida Memorial and Clark Atlanta just seems to be some kind of just like unexpected rivalry, it feels like. But, Clark at home, they're certainly going to have a more seasoned offense. And I'm really interested to see how the defense for Fort Valley responds after the points that they gave up. So, and the yards that they gave up. So, a lot to think about in this one. A lot to think about.
Yeah. It should be interesting just to see that contrast between the night sky and that red turf that they got over there. All right, let's talk about another big game. FAMU, Albany State. Now, this is a D1 versus D2 game. We did not put this in the B to A alert section for a reason. Albany State, again, the predicted winner of the SIC, taking their talents across the border into Tallahassee, where, surprise, surprise, FAMU people aren't happy They're 0-2.
Mhm.
They're 0-2, and James Colsey, the man that they beat down the doors for less than 2 years ago, when Sean Gibbs was about to get the job. They're not happy right now, and allegedly he's on the hot seat. And Albany State, not only are they hot, but they are coming in with a FAMU legend of their own in Quinn Gray. A lot of people are saying Albany State wins this game. Quinn Gray can pack his bags and head on over to I'm not gonna stop it. I'll never stop. And that Quinn Gray is going to have a personal in-person interview. Take it away. What your thoughts are on this, Chris, as we get closer and closer to this game?
Well, FAMU is definitely going to be looking to jumpstart their offense after the horrendous showing that they have started with so far. 14 points in one game and 9 in another. Oh, man. And is FAMU ever happy? I mean, it don't take much for those guys to not be happy. And, it's definitely something worthy of upset alert because Albany is definitely very a complete team. I think that there's somebody who, certainly has the ability to do it. And I think Quinn Gray's going to use this for an in-person interview. Yeah, surely. I mean, he's gotten 3 seasons to build his team to where it is now. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting in this particular game.
Wow, first upset alert of the year. Officially, the year has finally begun. We got an upset alert and a doom alert. It's football season. Okay. Let's and then next we'll go up to the game I'll be at this weekend. Winston-Salem State taking on Lincoln. Of course, they did get the win on the road last week. WSSU again, they never make it easy. So this week they're taking on a Lincoln team that 0-2, not anything unusual. Has struggled over the last couple of seasons, but the last time these two guys did play, Lincoln got a huge win, a feather in their cap, beating WSSU on a last-second play that had me running up a wall just watching it from North Carolina. But here's what Coach Massey had to say at his press conference the other day. Go ahead and hit that, code.
Listen. I don't know if revenge is the right word, but it definitely comes across your mind as a coach.
No coach like to use revenge.
Right. So you want to make sure the guys understand the importance of this game. Yes. And again, the implications: one, we'll move up 2-1, and then also the fact that we lost to these guys. In our opinion, 2 seasons ago, we felt we should have. But again, that dynamic has changed. They've moved on. We've moved on. I think we've gotten a little better. They're still a team that's on the rise themselves. So we won't take them lightly, and we understand it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think McCorkle said something that I definitely agree with it. We got to keep our foot on their neck. And I hate to say that publicly, but that's the thought process. We can't let off the throttle in terms of the direction we're going right now. Now, again, they're just the next opponent on our schedule. And they happen to be an opponent that we lost to 2 seasons ago. So yes, we do feel this is a game we have to win. We must win. That's because it's that next game.
There you have it, Chris. Foot on the neck. Statement game. Your thoughts, and then I'll give mine.
Well, Steven, I do want to at least ask you a question. And the question is, do you believe in miracles? Because that's exactly what happened with the radio call for Winston against Mars Hill and what they were able to pull off. And I mean, man, I tell you, it was very dicey in that game, and certainly some of the play calling, man. Good grief. But let me tell you about Lincoln, because we talk about Winston a lot. Lincoln is 0-2, yes. But the quarterback, Hamas Duran, who was a JUCO transfer in, really has given Lincoln's offense a little bit of life, especially through the air. certainly somebody to be sort of looking out for as you get into league play. Lincoln is definitely trying to put a lot of pieces together, but man, it doesn't feel like the Lincoln of old, that an 0-2 Lincoln team, and you kind of feel like you're just rolling over. They've had two really tough opponents in Grand Valley and Duquesne, but they've gotten a double-digit points both times, and to me, that's pretty darn good for a slate like that. So, it's definitely not a team to be for Winston to overlook, because I think that they will certainly be a much tougher out than they have been in the past. And I think what it says to me is that the CIAA's floor is not as low as it has been in previous seasons.
Go ahead and give me one box code. Yeah, so somebody asked why the Winston-Salem clips are longer than the others. That's because I take my behind over there and record them. So the clip is the clip. I'm sorry. It's like you said, Lincoln obviously got the better of them the last time. So for Winston-Salem State, this is a game that you want to put your foot on their neck. You want to push your foot on their neck. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen that. And, you got a new LED light show from NASCAR. It's a night game in Bowman Gray. Man, turn that up. Like, I want to see red all night. So, seriously, though, Winston-Salem State, they've had a problem over the last couple of years, which is their offense needs their defense. Their offense has needed their defense to really jumpstart them several times, and it almost came back to bite them again on Saturday night at Mars Hill, but they did have some sustained drives and, of course, the game-winning drive. And so we'll see if that is going to happen. They're usually pretty good at Bowman Gray, but look, my thing is, it's a night game at Bowman Gray. We got lights. We better use them. So we need to see a lot of touchdowns. I'm ready for a 30-plus. I'm ready for a 30-point game. I'm sorry, a 40-point game. Will I get it? Probably not. I'll probably get disappointed. But, hey, I'm putting it out there. That's what it's about. All right, you can go ahead and unbox me.
I like it. I like how you think. I mean, I appreciate the optimism. It would be nice for them to get over 30. But yeah, they got turbo lag. They start too slow, and then they try to finish real big. And they got to avoid those slow starts, because the schedule does not get any easier from here. Mm-hmm. So they're going to need to find all the points that they can.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, and then we get to the one that we've all circled, right? This is the game that is a first-year classic, and it just so happens that Edward Waters has finally risen. Well, they had a good season a couple years ago, but Edward Waters has a lot of buzz about them right now because of the coaching change. Toriano Morgan left and went to Tennessee State, opening the door for Brian Jenkins and him bringing his good friend Eric Dooley. Who knew that was a thing? And they brought along Noah Biden. And so 40-plus, they've been giving out 40 burgers over the last couple of games, and they're feeling good about themselves. And Virginia Union, they looked really good in that one game that we saw. They already had their bye for the season, so they got a chance to recuperate from that. This game will be down in Duval. So it's a classic, but it's not a neutral site game. I do understand that Virginia Union is flying, though. What are your thoughts on this game, Chris? And who do you like in it?
Well, I think it was pretty interesting for them to take this game. And I think another reason probably why to take this game is, VU does recruit in Florida. So it is another opportunity to showcase their team in that area too. In terms of the game, it's going to be another really interesting foray for VUU. They certainly got a really capable passing game. We saw Curtis Allen unleashed. for 185 yards, and it was just like, try to tackle like a Derrick Henry out there. Curtis Allen's like, what, 6'2", so strong. And, in the defense, right? But I would say, the unsung heroes of VUU is the offensive defensive lines. And I think that's really what's going to give Edward Waters some fits. I think that, for what they've been able to do, this is definitely a big step up for them. Some of the things that, Edward Waters really got to clean up, penalties. Last week they had 18 penalties for 167 yards. That's not going to work. That's ugly. 3 turnovers.
We need the belt. Turnover belt.
Yeah. 2 for 12 on third downs, against Miles, and 5 of 16 when you throw in the fourth down stats as well. And then punting. You're going to have to be able to flip the field, averaging a little less than 30 yards a punt last game. That's not going to work against VUU. And so, I think it's, Edward Waters is a really good feel-good story. I think that, to be able to put up 40 points against any opponent in your conference is a big deal. I just feel like, this is a different step up, and VUU has been in these games before, and I do expect VUU to break the tie for the CIAA to go up 1 to finish the out-of-conference schedule against the SIAC in this game. But it's going to be a great game. We're really excited to see what does Edward Waters bring. I'm really excited to see that in a matchup like this. I think it's a good measuring stick.
Man, all them turnovers. Man, God. Whew. Man, they got to clean that up. Yeah, man. Well, it's the Unity Classic. So HBCU Game Day is one of the sponsors. So we'll be involved in that game. So two private units, private institutions, VUU and Edward Waters. Good luck to both of them. We shall see. But I think we're going to see the difference. I think this is going to show us the difference. Like we used to see those MEAC versus SWAC battles, and the MEAC used to kind of, out physical him there. I think that's what's going to happen here. So we shall see. But let us know what you guys think in the comments. Please, guys, hit that like button as well. We are getting ready to land this plane, but I want to thank you guys so much again for coming in and being a part of this. Please continue to watch this, share it. It will be available via podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. So if you like to listen and maybe you missed some of it, or you just want to hear our voices again, you can go and download it, and subscribe to our podcast. We have a lot of different things that we have on there. Chris, where are you going to be this weekend, man?
I'm at home. I'm at home this weekend. It was really nice to be able to watch multiple games on the screen for the first time this season. So I'm looking forward to doing that again and saving up some coins to go to some games over the next few weeks.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I'll be over at WSSU. I'm gonna keep it close this week. After being on the road for a while. So really excited about it. Guys, please make sure that you have downloaded our app as well with all our latest news as well. So for myself at K-Ferg, as well as our producer Kobe, we definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you guys in the next video. Clean that up, clean it up, clean it up.